Box is all about the ocean, soft waves, beach stones, and sea glass colors. Today I'm unboxing the Bargain Bead Box collection, Making Waves. We'll go through Amazonite, fossil coral, angelite, crystals, and wave-inspired findings, and then I'll create a finished jewelry design using this collection. So let's get started! For April's Bargain Bead Box called Making Waves, we're going to start off by looking at the first 11 bags that come in the box, and then which are all of the gemstones and the crystals that come in the box. Then we'll go through the last, I think it's 8 bags after that, and it's all the findings. So we'll do this first, and then we'll do an earring at the end. So this is bag number 1, which is a 35mm flower Amazonite gently faceted teardrop pendant. So each person is going to get something slightly different. Mine is a little bit more of a seafoamy green color, and it's like more of a whitish green. So it's really, really pretty. And you can see there's a little bit of white inclusions right there to make it kind of cloudy looking in some places and everything. And it's got just a little bit of faceting around the edge to kind of help with that shine. So there you can see the facets a little bit better that way. So it's really, really pretty. I like this stone. And you get a second pendant in this box. This is bag number 2. This is 25 by 13mm flower Amazonite faceted teardrop pendant. So each one of your Amazonite pendants are going to be slightly different than the others. Some people are going to get ones that are a little bit more brown in color, and I'll show you the differences in some of these other strands. And then some are going to be more of a turquoise teal, some of them are going to be more of a bluish teal. So it kind of just depends on which one you get. But I really like this one because you see the different brown inclusions on this side. And I love gemstones, so I love seeing all the different inclusions and everything. So that's bag number 2. Bag number 3 is this one, which is an 8mm 7-inch strand of Amazonite matte round beads, which is about 23 beads on this strand. So you can see that these are more of that turquoisey blue color. So there you go. Make sure I keep it on screen there for you, sorry. And then like this one has a little bit more of a brown inclusion in there again, but this strand has a lot more of that turquoisey blue. So very, very nice. I'm loving this color. So bag number 4 is a 4mm Amazonite rondelle strand. It is 7 inches. On my strand I ended up having 86 beads. And these are just really, really nice, that darker turquoise again. You have some that have a little bit more of the brown. Like this one has, these couple right here have a little bit more brown in them. Things like that. But it is a very, very nice, very dainty little rondelle to use in all sorts of different things. You can use it in bead stringing, you can use it in bead weaving. I might even use it in my earring tutorial later on, but it's very, very pretty. I really like this one because I like the little dainty gemstone look. It just gives just a little extra to it sometimes, and to your projects and everything. So bag number 5 is this strand. This is a fossil coral tumbled nugget bead strand. It's 7.5 inches, which I ended up with 15 beads on mine. So you can see all the different variations, and it's a good neutral color to use with all of these turquoise colors and everything in projects. So this one looks like, that one looks like sand. It looks like the sand down on the Gulf Coast here in the Houston area. So that's just what this reminds me of. It's kind of neat. So I really, really like this strand too. It's fun. This is a fun box. This is going to be fun to work with. Alright, so where am I at? This is going to be this one, I think. Yep, English cut. So this is a 7 to 8mm flower Amazonite English cut round bead strand, and you get 7 inches of this. I have 24 beads on my strand. There's actually 23 on the bead on the strand right now. There's one that fell off, so I had to retie one of the ends. But this is going to show you the differences of what the flower Amazonite can look like. So you have some that have more of the black inclusions, like this bead right here. You have some that have more of the brown inclusions, so this one's more of a sandy brown color. This one's more of a reddish brown color. And then you have the ones that are more turquoise, like this guy right here. That one's more of a deeper turquoise color. And you've got the lighter color turquoises that are similar to what my stone is over here and this stone. So my 2 stones that I got. So very, very nice variated strand color of flower amazonite. So nice again. I'm really going to like designing with this kit. This one's going to be fun to work with. I know it. Alright, so the next one is a 15-inch strand of 6mm flower amazonite. These are matte round beads this time. So there again you can see all the different variations. It's kind of washed out with my lights and everything, but you can see, look how dark that green one is. That one's really a dark, deep green color. And you've got another one just like it over here. Then you've got these darker brown ones that are almost a grayish brown. You've got the more sandy colored brown ones. Then you've got plenty of the turquoisey green, sea opal type green. Really, really, really pretty. Love them. And then that bead strand, I ended up having 59 beads on that one. And then here's a different gemstone that we got. This is bag number 8. It is a 14-inch strand of green angelite tumbled pebbled beads. I have 47 beads on this strand. And this is just really pretty because you get that similar turquoise color. This one's a little bit more of a green strand compared to some of these others. These are a little bit more bluish in color. This has a little bit more of a greener tint to it. But you also see that little bit of a opal, kind of opal essence in a way. There's a little bit of chatoyance in some of these beads. Every once in a while you'll see like a little bit of a flash to it. But really, really pretty beads. Goes along really well with the flower amazonite. It's going to be a very good accent bead to be able to use in some of your projects too. So that is that one. Bag number 9. Bag number 9 is a glass seed bead mix, or a bead mix really. And it's called Sandy yeah, that's hard for me to say. Sandy Seashore. Yeah, I cannot say that tongue twister little phrase that people talk about. Anyways, so you get all sorts of beads in there. I'm not going to pour them out because I'll probably make a huge mess on a bead mat and it'll take me forever to clean it up. But you have some little fish beads right here. That's a starfish right there. I've got a couple of starfish in there, a couple of little fish beads. There's some round beads in here. It looks like, potentially, yep, there's some pearls. I thought I saw a pearl somewhere. So there's a pearl there. And then you've got some accenting blue colored beads in here. That one's kind of like a AB finish on that one. And then when you flip it over, you can kind of see all the seed beads a little bit better. So you have a good mixture of different sized seed beads in here. It's like I see probably 11 O's and some 8 O's. Not quite sure if there's any 15s in there. It kind of seems like there might be a couple of small ones, which might be 15s, but it may be just glares from another bead, because there's probably a good 6 or 7 different colors of seed beads in there. So very nice little bag to use. I have an idea to use this, so I will try to come back and show you that idea at a later date. So bag number 10 is another crystal strand. And this is a 4x3 crystal rondelle mix, or crystal rondelle beads in matte coral pink AB. It's 15 inches and I have about 109 beads on this strand. So it's just get you that peachy pink vibe to kind of go as another little accent bead with all the turquoise and browns and everything. So very, very nice, pretty color. Really like it. And then you get that little bit of a flash whenever you have that little AB that pops out. So another good color to use with this kit. And then our last crystal strand is bag number 11. This is 4mm crystal faceted round beads in seafoam shimmer. You get a 12-inch strand, and I got about 91 beads on this one. So just another good bead to use. It's got more of that kind of a, I'd say this one's almost a little bit more closer in blue to the amazonite colors, the flower amazonite and everything, whereas this one has a little bit more of that green that we were talking about. So very, very nice, very pretty. So that's the first 11 bags, so meet me back and we'll go through the findings in the kit. So here are the last 8 bags of this month's Making Waves kit from Bargain Bead Box. So bag number 12 is this. You get 2 pieces of 60 by 18 millimeter stainless steel wavy pendants. And they are just a very nice, interesting, just, you know, you can probably just put a jump ring and an ear wire on that and then just make that your earring right there. This is really just interesting. I like the way this looks. It's really cool. And then to go along with that, bag number 13, no, where are we at? Bag number 13 is 1 piece of a wavy brass bail, pinch bail in silver. So it's the same type of look, where you have this type of a wave, and then this one, but you have that little bit of that little pinch bail there in the center. So you can open it up, put your bead in the center down there, and then close it back up again, and then you'll have a nice little bead sitting there. So, something interesting to try to design with. Bag number 14 are 20 pieces of 7 by 3 millimeter Baroque textured nugget spacer beads in antique silver. So here are your spacer beads for this month's kit. So very nice, and they are pretty hefty. They have a little bit of weight to them, so they'll go along really well with all the gemstones. Bag number 15 are 50 pieces of 5.5 millimeter stainless steel bead caps. So here's your bead caps for this month. And then there is the front side of them. So they're very simple, very plain looking. And then there's the underside of it, just in case you want to use the underside in any of your projects, which I've done in a couple of occasions. Then bag number 16 are 2 pieces of 17 by 18 millimeter stainless steel wavy round pendants. So there is actually a little hole right here at the top. Oh yeah, you can probably see that. Make a little bit of a shadow there, and you can kind of see it. I didn't see that when I first got these open. I was like, oh, okay, these are neat. And then I set them down on the mat, and I was like, oh, there's a hole right there. So that's how you can connect it to maybe earrings or something like that if you wanted to. And there is the back side. So the back side is a little bit more plain, but you can still potentially use these in a pair of earrings and then put one of these on one side of your head and then the other on the other side of the head. And see, there's a little bit of a difference. Like this one's a little bit more shinier, it seems like, or you can see a little bit more of the texture, and this one's like a slightly more muted on the texture on the back side. So something then to do if you would like is to use those in earrings. I'm not sure if I'm going to use those today because I have an idea of using these guys. This one is bag number 17. You get 10 pieces of 22 millimeter textured ring links. And they are in the color silver. They're lead, nickel, and cadmium free. So these are just your nice little wavy links. And I have a potential idea of using making these into an earring. So if you want to follow along, go ahead and keep those guys out. Bag number 18 is our clasp for this month. It is a platinum plated brass textured fold over clasp. It is also lead, nickel, and cadmium free. So here is one side of it over here. So here's your loop basically, and then here is your fold over clasp. So you would just open that up and then take it off. And then when you're trying to put it back on again, then you would just hook onto that and then close it or clip it or pinch it until you hear that little bit of a clip. And then that gets your fold over clasp on. So it's kind of neat, different. Haven't seen one of those in a little while. And the same thing with the last one, the chain. The chain is really interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this before. This is 1 meter, which is approximately 39 inches of 4 by 2 millimeter stainless steel dapped. I think it's called dapped. It may be daped. Dapped or daped. Anyways, stainless steel dapped oval jewelry chain. So this is what that looks like. It is very interesting. It's different. It's like it's an oval, but then there in the center it looks like it's been squished. Like somebody came through with a press or something and squished it. So it's neat. I really like that. Gives it a different look, a different feel to using chain in your projects. So really like that. Might come back and use that as in one of my necklaces or something. So that is this month's Making Waves collection from Bargain Bead Box in April 2026. So next page you will see a supplies needed page. That way if you would like to follow along with the earring I'm about to make, then you can. After that, we'll be back and we'll do that earring. Alright, so I am going to attempt to make this second earring. So I say attempt because this is actually freeform wire working, and I don't do very much wire working, so I wanted to challenge myself a little bit. So we're going to do this. So let's see if we can do this again type thing. So what we'll end up having to do first, I'm using the Soft Flex craft wire today. I'm using the pewter color. I'm starting to run out of some of my wires, so I need to purchase a little bit more, but I have 22 gauge with me today. I ended up cutting off almost 14 inches of wire, so it's a nice huge long piece of wire. It's probably going to be too much to what we're going to need, but sometimes when you're wrapping like this, sometimes I'm going to use a little bit more on one piece, and then other piece I'm not going to use as much. So I wanted to have way more than I needed, just in case I had any problems. Now, like I said in the very beginning, I don't do very much wire working, so if I'm doing something completely different than what somebody else might be doing, as far as, you know, you do this on a daily basis, please keep that in mind. I'm still learning. So let's see if we can do this. Alright, so we're going to start off by threading on, I'm going to do the beads in the center. I'm starting off with one of the nugget beads, picking up one of the small Amazonite rondelles, and then I picked out two of the fossil coral beads that were just about the same size and just about the same color. So this one's obviously slightly smaller than this one, but on an earring you're not going to notice that too much. So go ahead and put your fossil coral on, and then your other Amazonite, and then your other metal pebble bead. Now this is what I did. I brought it down to about halfway down to where the beads are sitting about halfway, and then I took both sides and I went upwards with them like that. Now of course it is 22 gauge wire, so it is pretty flimsy. I wish I had some 20 gauge, but I don't right now. At least not in the silver, and I wanted to use silver. So I can also use my pliers and try to get more of an angle, like a 90-degree blend there. Of course it's kind of bending still, but that's okay, that's okay, things will work out. That's a good thing about using wire, is that you can always fix things a little bit easier than if you're using like thread and needle. You'll have to just go back out and then redo it. So it's one of those things. Now to make the loop around one of the rings, I'm going to do probably the bottom ring first. That's what I did the first time, so that's what I'm going to do this time. To make that first loop around there, I went ahead and used my bail making pliers, and I used the second step on it. So I positioned my pliers to where I can go around that part of the bail. Let's see, let me move this wire. Let me move this wire over here so it can twist a little easier. But we're just going to twist the wire around. Of course it's going to get a little wonky here because of it being so long of a piece. There we go. And I'm going to go completely around the bail. So you see two loops on this side, and then you see the one loop on that side. So I went completely around the bail, or the pliers. I actually have a little bit of an opening here, which is good, because I'm going to thread on my wavy link and make sure that the link goes down into that loop. And kind of play with it a little bit. It'll fit, you just kind of have to play with it for a second. Okay, there it goes. And then I'm going to pinch these two guys closed. These two guys, I'm pinching the loop closed. There we go. So now it's pinched closed. And then now I'm going to make another loop around this. So this part you just have to be careful not to bend your wire too much to where it causes it to kink up or get a part of the wire that's, you're not able to get it to come out, basically. A bend in the wire that you don't like. Alright, so I'm going completely around the wavy link until I get back up to the top again. So that one's completely freeform. So try your best at it and see how well you can get there. Now I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping around this guy. And see, I wrapped around down here below the nugget first. And then I'm just straightening out the wire just a little bit right now because I'm starting to get kind of a little wavy here. So I went around just below the nugget first. I'm going to go across the nugget. I'm going to go ahead and loop on the other side of the nugget. Did I do that? No, I didn't. Sorry. Okay, so I started to loop, and then I'm going to loop actually over this guy, the Amazonite. And then that will take me up to my, do I want to go all the way around? Yeah, okay. So basically I looped around the nuggets, and on the back side I went across the Amazonite. So now we're getting to the very front again. So now we're going to loop around our brown bead that I've already forgot what that's called. That one is fossil coral. So we're going to loop around that and then try to do something similar up here at the top. So now we're going to loop around, and I held that with my thumb there, so try to keep it there. And I'm going to loop around the Amazonite, and then we went straight across this guy, and then now I'm going to straighten this one out, this other wire. I'm going to straighten that one back out again so I can kind of get a little loop around it to help make sure that everything stays. There. So that's what it should look like at the moment. And so far, I think we're getting there. So, it's looking pretty similar at least. Alright, so now we need to add that second loop. So we need to get our pliers back out again. Now this one, let's see, I'm going to hold it this way. So that way it's easier for me to wrap with my left hand around that second step on the bail loop making pliers again. So it might get fuzzy while I'm doing this. But just go completely around again. So that way on one side you have two loops sitting there. You can see two strands of the wire, and then on the other side you only see the one strand of the wire. And then, see how this one's more closed up this time? So we want to open that one up just like we would a jump ring. So just twist it to the side to open it up, and then put your other wavy link on. And then get that to sit in that loop. And then you want to pinch it back closed again. Just like that. Now we're going to make another loop around this wavy link with the wire that we're using currently. Oh, that got a little close to getting kinky. That's okay, we'll get it fixed if we need to. Oh, and then my loop down there, I kind of tightened it a little too much. Okay, so let's get that fixed. So see how this loop got tightened a little too much there? So I'm going to loosen this up a little bit. So basically I'm taking this wire, this is the working wire, and I'm pushing it back down towards the earring to make that loop bigger again. And I want it a little bit bigger so that way the loops, the wavy wavy rings can have some room to be able to move around. Alright, so now I'm going to attempt to finish that loop again, because I want to get back down to where the bead is at. And here, I'm just going to wrap around the base a couple of times. So that's one wrap, or a half a wrap, I guess. Oops, come on. So, and there we go. Okay, so that's one wrap. Oopsie. And then 2 wraps, I think. Oh, bad wrap. Alright, and figure out where the front and the back of the earring is. I want this part to be in the front. So see how this is kind of sitting off to the side like this? Oh, yeah, now you can see it. So I want this to be in the front. So I want to twist this upper portion until my loops are facing each other like that. So that way everything kind of sits in a line. Now these wires, I want to make sure that I get to the back of the earring. So I'm going to continue wrapping this one around to the back, and then this one's going in the opposite direction, and then wrap that one to the back. And then I have to kind of twist this again. It got twisted. This is the difference between using tools and using your hands. It's a little bit different. Like I said, this is not something I do very often, so this has been fun to try to come up with this and see if I can duplicate it. Alright, so we're going to call it quits, I think. I'm going to go ahead and cut both sides off. And see, we did have quite a bit left over. But there again, like I said several times, this is not something that I do very often. So wasn't sure how much to start off with, and wanted to give you at least a number, so if you're new at it too, then you'll know what to do also. And then I'm just using my pliers and tucking in those 2 edges a little bit closer. And then if I need to, I can finish. I can kind of get this wrap right here to kind of squish together a little bit better. That seems to kind of get it to sit a little nicer, and see how our wavy links can still kind of move around inside the loops and stuff. And that's what I was hoping would happen. So now we have to decide, okay, do we want that to be the top? Do we want that to be the bottom? I think what I would like to do is try to do that. So that way, nope, that goes in the same direction. I think I was doing that the correct way to begin with. Nope, I'm not going to have... Yeah, you're not going to be able to do that, because you would have to go this direction. Never mind. Disregard that of what I was trying to do, because I was trying to get this loop to go that way, but I didn't do it that way, so it's not going to work that way. Okay. Anyways, take your larger of your jump rings. I'm using a 6mm jump ring and a 4mm jump ring. You can probably get away with 2 4mm, but there again, I wanted an extra amount of room for this to be able to move around in. And my 4mm jump rings are already open, so I'm going to go ahead and just close this guy up. And typically I'd be using 2 chain nose pliers for this, or my flat nose and chain nose, but currently they are packed up. As of the making of this video, I am going out of town tonight, and they are packed up so I can work on some things. Alright, so 4mm, attach that, and then now the front of the earring is facing towards me, so I need to make sure that the back of the earring is facing away from me, the ear wire itself. There we go. And then we're going to close this up, and then we're going to look and see how close we got to doing, whoop, something similar. I may have to come back and fix that jump ring. I think I twisted it by accident rather than trying to close it. I think I twisted it open. There we go. I felt it kind of click together. It's still not closed though. Okay, that's fine. I'll fix it off camera if I have to. Everybody knows that I can't really see that far away sometimes. At least those of y'all that have been sticking around for a while with my videos. So there is your set of earrings, and they actually look pretty close to each other. So there you go. So that's a look at everything in the Making Waves collection, from the Amazonite and fossil coral to those wave-inspired findings. Let me know which beads or components stood out to you most. And make sure you're subscribed, because I'll be back to create something with this collection very soon.